Good Erev Shabbos to everybody. And we're on today's daf is daf Ayin Ches. We're on Ayin Zayin Amid Beis. And we saw that the din of Dalet V'Hei would apply to Kalayim. In other words, we have a geep. A geep is the combination of a goat and a sheep. If you go ahead and shech that, you be chayiv, it says shavaseh, you be chayiv Dalet V'Hei. Good, you be chayiv Dalet V'Hei. Read the Gemara. We're at 6 lines up on Ayin Zayin on the base. Kalayim. How could you tell me if you shecht or sell kalayim that you're chayiv Dalet V'Hei? Seksiv. It says seh. V'amar Rava zeh binyanav kol makom shenema seh in elu lahoitzi as a kalayim. Anytime it says seh, it is to go ahead and exclude kalayim. So how in the world can you tell me if you go ahead and shecht or sell kalayim, you be chayiv Dalet V'Hei? The word seh, according to Rava, is a binyan av l'chala Torah kula, that if it says seh, it excludes kalayim. If it says seh, it excludes kalayim. And for the Gemara, okay, Rabbi, we're on Ayin Zayin on the base, 4 lines up. Shiny hacha, it's different over here. Why, even though it says seh, is it not excluding kalayim? The Amakra oy l'rabbis. It says ki yignav sharish oy sha oy seh. It says the oy. That oy comes to include kalayim. That even though usually seh excludes kalayim from the parsha it's in this parsha of Dalet V'Hei, the oy says that kalayim is in the parsha, even though it says seh. Says the Gemara, v'chol oy l'rabbis. Anytime it says oy is l'rabbis, v'atanya. We have another pasuk, and this pasuk is speaking by guys. This pasuk is speaking by Karbonis. Okay, shor oy kesev oy eis ki yivaled. So it's important the order, guys. An ox, a sheep, or a goat ki yivaled when they're born. V'hayeshivas yom tachas imay. Good. They'll be 7 days underneath their mother. Pirish. You can't bring a korban until it's 8 days old. We spoke out in Arachayim and has to have what? A Shabbos passed in its life to infuse it with its neshama, right? So that's the Arachayim we spoke on about Chulish Mayim Retz Val Tzava. So therefore, it says over there, Shar oy kesev oy eis. Good. Now, can you bring kalayim as a korban? No. But it says oy. You told me oy is l'rabbis by Dalet V'Hei. It brings kalayim into the parsha. The oy by korban does not bring it into the parsha. Fred the Gemara v'chol oy l'rabbis says the Gemara v'tanya shorei kesev prat l'kalayim oy eis prat l'nidma. Now nidma means the mother and the father were sheep. You had an aisle and a sheep, right? They did what they do, and they gave birth to an animal that looks like a goat. So that's a nidma. So you can't bring a nidma as a korban, but what we need is kalayim. You can't bring kalayim as a korban. Why not? It says oy. It should be included. So amarava hacham inyane dekra v'hacham inyane dekra. Let's look at context. Okay, let's look at context, and depending upon the context, the oy will either be a riboy, an inclusion, or miyut, or an exclusion. Right? Hacha gabe geneva by Dalet V'Hei dichsiv. Shar oiseh, shiata lahoitzi kalayim b'neihem. If you take a shar and crossbreed it with a seh or vice versa, nothing's happening, right? This is not happening. It's not possible for a shar or a seh to produce a child, no offspring. So Mamela, since shar oiseh kalayim is not possible, oy l'rabbis kalayim, the oy comes to include kalayim, guys. In other words, where nature, given its course, does not produce an offspring, then the oy comes to say, well, guess what? It's included. So in other words, nature can't do it, so the oy, the pasuk does it. Gabe kochim dechsiv kesev ve'ez. Now we can ask a question. It says shavi kesev ve'ez, right? It says there's 3 animals, guys. But look, right now, let's take out the first shar. Kesev ve'ez. Can obviously a goat and a sheep can produce a geep. So it's possible they're kalayim. Where it's possible in kalayim, what does the oy come to do? No. So by ganif, Dalet V'Hei, where you can't have kalayim, the oy is to include kalayim. By korban, where you could have kalayim, the oy is to exclude kalayim. Good? Here's the problem. The pasuk there doesn't just say kesev eis, it says shor kesev eis. At the beginning of the parsha, you're telling me shor kesev can't produce. Says the Gemara, the chsiv kesev eis shati yochel oitzi kalayim enayim oyis lamayadhu. Fred the Gemara, Amid Aleph, Gabi Kochim Nami, regarding Karbonis, Nemar, Shorei Kesavayes, Shenati Yochel Hoitzi Klami Benehem, Vinarbi, and you're using what? It is what as a reboy. It's using it as a reboy, and according to you, what? It should be a miyut. I mean, the Sefer Lamayit, right? It should be a reboy, excuse me. The Sefer Lamayit, what did I just say? It made no sense. No, Shorei Kesev should be a reboy, right? Because since they can't reproduce, the Oishim tell me that they're it's in the parsha. So you're using the Seifa, which says they could reproduce, to tell me no. The Reisha says yes. Says the Gemara, mid the Seifa Lamayit Reisha Nami Lamayit. When the Seifa is coming to Lamayit, the Reisha is also Lamayit. So therefore, the Shor Kesev is also a miyat. The Oi Shor Kesev Yes. Ad Rabba mid the Reisha Rabbis. Let's say the shor and the kesev, the oy there is to be marbe kalayim, sefer nabi l'rabbis kalayim. Says the Gemara, hi mai, it's trei miyuti. If you can tell me it's mayit, I need two miyutim. The afagav the imit kalayim, even though kalayim's out of the ballpark, it's the mayit nidma. Guys, remember we said shori kesev prat kalayim, a is prat nidma. Now, if you had to tell me which is more out of the ballpark, kalayim or nidma, you'd say kalayim, because it's two different species. Masenke nidma, which the mother and the father were the same species, it's not kalayim, it just doesn't look so good, I'd say is in the ballpark. So I need two miyutim, one for kalayim, one for nidma. Rabbis, if you're going to be marba kalayim, once you marba kalayim, certainly nidma's in the parsha. Says the Gemara, rabbis trei ribui lama, hashta kalayim yerbile, nidma mi boy. Good. So therefore, everything's geshmak. Good. So now, Said Rava, a din. Said Rava, anytime it says se is to go ahead and exclude kalayim. Good? Now, we just bought two parshiyos. We bought the parsha of Daled Vehei, and we bought the parsha of Carbon. By Daled Vehei, Rava's din doesn't apply. It says se, but it says oi, and the oi comes to include. Rava's din by se, by Carbon, is not the reason you're excluding kalayim. You're excluding kalayim because it says oi lemayit. So now we have a problem. Where was Rava's application of his din? It's not by Daled Vehei. It's not by kalayim. So where is his application of any time there's a binyan av, it says seh, it excludes kalayim. I don't need Rava for that. I got him a furish pasuk, a drasha from a pasuk. So Frag the Gemara, you brought Rava in le'inyan ma. What are you bringing Rava in for? Where did Rava say his din? Elahadam Rava zeb binyan av kol makom shnema seh en elohitzi yesa kalayim lemay hilchasa ilekachim if it's a kabbanis behedik kasev bay shor oy kasev prat lekalayim ilemaisa if a maisa behema, right, by maisa behema, the 10th animal that comes out, tachas yolef. It says, guys, by karbonis, it says hoya shivas yamim tachas imay, which says the word tachas. It says by maisa kol sheyava b'tachas hashevet. So once I've established by karbonis, where it says shoya kesev that climbs out, so the memela and it says tachas because they reshava tachas to maisa says maisa's out. So I don't need Rabbi for that to tell me that kalayim it can't be ma'isa behema. So the ma'isa tachas tachlim b'kochim. Bechar to tell me that bechar kalayim there's no kedusha of bechar by kalayim. Havara yolf mi ma'isa. Right? It says kolashet yava tachas hashevet, and it says v'avarta kol rechem. So this week's parsha, right? It says so we have the lashon of ayin beis reish by both. So Mamela, guys, watch. Again, what's the kasha? Where's Rava's binyan av coming to exclude? It can't be kachim. I know that from Shari Kesev. Oi. It can't be Daled Vehei because I have oil l'rabbis. So Mamela, where is his din? Says the Gemara, it can't be Bachar, it can't be Maisa Behema. I have tachas from kachim. It can't be bachar. I have yava for amat from Ma'aser Behema. So where did Rabbi say is din? Le'inyan ma. Le'inyan ma, what did he say is din? Inami, nidma, right? Amrit loy, dichsiv, ach b'shar. So says the Gemara, inami, or else you're going to tell me you can be ma'id kalayim from Mechor from another place. Shari what? Nidma amrit. A nidma is not kodesh kedushas b'chor. In other words, inami. In other words, guys, I can either be mamayit kalayim from b'chor using the gzeir shava to ma'aser behema, or from nidma. Inami to be mamayit b'chor from nidma. Why does it say that a nidma it does not have kedushas b'chora? Dechsiv ach b'chor shar. Amidashin ache hu shar u'b'chor shar. In other words, it has to look like the father, and it doesn't. So Memela, if Nidm is out of the ballpark when both parents were what? The same, Kalayim mi boy? Do you need to tell me by Bechor, by Beklayim not? So again, the little pitch of the last one is just, where do you know Bechor Kalayim is out? You can either from Gzeir Shava, Tachas, or from Nidma. If Nidma is out, even though the parents are the same, right, then certainly what? Kalayim's out. So we're left with a question, right? What's our question? Where did Rava, the binyan av of Rava, where does it apply to? That binyan av of Rava, where exactly does it apply to? That's our kasha. Guys, you all good? Everyone's good? Okay, Baruch Hashem. Okay, says the Gemara. Kiyema de Rava, le'inyan petach hamar. Now we know that what? A firstborn bechor of an animal, of a donkey, even though it's a behemoth tmeya, since it helped us out of Mitzrayim, right? Again, this was parsha. You're going to go ahead and you're going to have to be either one or two things. Either be poidered or by rafta you decapitate it, right? It's either or. But you can't just do nothing. Right? It has kedusha. Now, can you be poidered with kalayim? Nine. Ain poidim loy be'egel. You can't be poidered not with a calf. V'loy bechaya, not with a tzvi or an ayol. You need a live animal, not a dead animal. Now, if it's a sed that's shluta or a sed that's a treifa, and not kalayim. Okay, Kenny Miller's going, okay. Anyway, good. So therefore, that's the din. Now, how do you know, guys, you can't be pointed with kalayim? Guys, how do you know you can't be pointed? Because it says tifta b'seh. It says you have to be pointed with a seh. And kol mokum shenem a seh, says Rava, lahoitzi es a kalayim. So that's what I'm going to use it for. Again, you want to know where Rava's din is applicable, the din of his binyanav, when it says seh, lahoitzi es a kalayim. We went through a whole slew of halachas where you don't need it. Here's what I need it for. How do you know you can't go ahead and take a geep and be poida? How do you know that? Why? Now you know it because it says tifta b'seh. It says you should go ahead and be poida b'seh, right? And since it says seh, we have a binyan from Rava lahoitzi es kalayim. Fred the Gemara ul Rebbe Laza de mate b'kalayim. Rebbe Laza says you could use kalayim to be poida seh. Did nan Rebbe Laza mate b'kalayim b'fnei shu seh because he holds it as a seh. Lemay hilchasa. Where did Rava say his din from? Okay, where did Rabbi say his din from? Okay, so now the Gemara guys are outside. The Gemara is going to bring a case of a horse that impregnates a cow. A horse impregnates a cow that you can't eat, even though the mother's kosher, you can't eat the kid. The Gemara is going to ask. It doesn't work. There's no way that you can't have a how, right? You can't have a horse. You can't have a cow or a horse, right? It doesn't work. So the Gemara is going to stel sich zu, guys, where the father was a kolat. The father was a kosher animal. The father was a kosher animal, and its feet were cloven. They were together. They were not separate. And it gave birth to a child. So it's a kosher bull, it's a kosher cow. They do what they do, and they give birth to a child that looks like the father, that it's a kolat. So there, it's asa to go ahead and eat. So that's when it says tameya, it doesn't mean a behemoth tameya. It means it's not kosher like a behemoth tameya, right? It's a kosher animal that doesn't
no
have this.
split hooves.
Excuse me?
No split hooves, you mean?
Yes,
Is that what it is? Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah. Color means no split hooves. Right. So therefore, everyone holds its asa. Now, Rav Shimon says it's asa because he learns it from Rava. Rabbi Yeshua says it's asa. It says sek savim seizim. You need the plural and not a singular. So it says the Gemara, that's what I'm going to use the halacha of Rava for. So according to Rabbi Laza, who says what? That Kalayim could be paidaseh, l'may hilchasa. Amalach Rabbi Laza, kiyet madarava, l'tamei shenoiled min atahar. For a tamei that is noiled from a tahar. The iburim min atamei. And it was impregnated by a tamei animal. Udloik Rabbi Yeshua, because Rabbi Yeshua is of the opinion, Rabbi Yeshua, he doesn't need Rava to teach me that. He learns that for Shev Kvasim b'seizim. It says Zois behema shetochelu shar se ksavim. It says lashon rab ksavim, right? So it has to be what? It has to have two, not one. Good. So now, if that's the case, so we learn it. Where does Rav? I need Rav is din according to Rabbi Shimon, not according to Rabbi Yeshua. Now, for the Gemara, a question. Again, you know the answer already. Nafli achiyuk of keves imay kivsa. They have to be what? The father is a keves imay kivsa, as opposed to where the father is a non-kosher animal, meaning a kolet, and the mother is a kosher. For the Gemara, to hire mitama mi me'abra. Can a Torah animal, a cow, be impregnated by a horse? In the kaim alon, the iabe mi kolet. It was ma'aber from a kolet. In other words, the bull and the cow were together, but the father was a kolet, and he gave birth to a kolet. So, according to Rabbi Yeshua, I have sekvasim v'seizim. It says sekvasim, lashon rabim, to exclude that. Like Rav Shimon, how do you know it's asa b'achila? Says the Gemara, you know from Rav is din. Anytime it says what? The word se, it's the hoisi asa kalayim. It says se over here, it's mighty kalayim. This would be kalayim, the color would be asa. That's the din. Boy, Rav. Interesting shayla, guys. A guy says the following: Harei alai oila. It's upon me to bring a carbon oila. The hif is shar, and he goes ahead and he separates a shar. Uba achar comes along an individual, v'gona, and he steals the shar. Good. Now there's a chiyuv hashava. Mi poter ganef nafshe bekeves l'rabanan, or ba'oilas oif l'Rebbe Eliezer ben Azariah. Now we have guys outside. You have machlokes and menachos. When a person says harei olai oila, it's upon me to bring an oila. An oila is a very general term. What does he mean? Is there a stam? Says the Tanakama. Yeah, stam is a keves. Stam is a sheep. Says Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah. Says Rabbi Eliezer ben Azariah. Stam is a bird. The Gemara says, guys, that each one in their place, one was more expensive than the other. So one place the keves is more expensive, one place birds is more expensive. So they're not arguing. So, but no one says a shar. No one says a shar. So here's the Gemara Shaila, guys. Listen to the outside. Outside is the Gemara Shaila. If you go ahead, and this guy, he goes ahead, and he designates an animal for his oila, which is more than the norm. The norm is either a sheep or a bird. I steal the shar. Now it's not here anymore. Can I be yotzei my chiyuv shava by giving him a sheep or a bird, which is cheaper than a shar? Why should I be able to? Because this guy went ahead and he separated a shar. He wanted to bring a mitzvah and a mufchar. He wanted to bring a better animal. Or no? Do we say he just wanted to bring an oila? And you could bring an oila either with a keves or a bird. And therefore, I will be yotzei my mitzvah shava. Again, it's nothing to do with value over here. It has to do with a fulfillment of a neder. The neder was, I'm going to bring an oila. So the Gemara wants to know, an interesting shaila, could you go ahead and return that? Says the Gemara. Boy Rava, harei olai oila, the hif is shar, uba acha v'gona. Mi pot the ganef nashe b'keves l'rabanon, who usually says stam and oila is a keves, or ba'oila soif l'Rebbe Eliezer ben Azariah. That nan, harei olai oila, Yovi keves, Rebbe Eliezer ben Azariah, Omi Yovi tar, Oy ben yoin a bird. My, mi aminon shem oila kibul olave. We say shem oila, and therefore this fulfills the requirement Dilma Matzi Amale, the owner could say to the ganif, "I know mitzvah min amuvcha bin lemei, but I want to do a mitzvah min amuvcha." So basa the ibai after Ravi asked the shaila, had the pashit, he was pashit the shaila. Ganav ganif pater atzman bekeves l'rabanan and ba'olas oif l'rebbelas menazai. He could pat himself. In other words, the guy, the time of mitzvah min amuvcha is not a winning taina. He can pat himself. And now, Rav Achabrei the Rava Ikar Masni Labehedya. He didn't learn it as an abai, as a shaila. He learned it as a statement. Amar Rava, Harei Olai Oila. Person says the pamida being an Oila. V'hifrish shar. Uba Acher v'ganvoi. Pateratzmai bekeves l'rabbanon b'ayisod rozim and azariah. In other words, not a shaila, just an unequivocal statement, straight out. Says the Mishnah. Machroi chutz me'echad mi'meir shebai. Now again, continuing along the halachas of Daled Behei, it says Utvachoi Mecharoi. What about it says Mecharoi? You have to sell all of it. So you are selling except 1/100th of it. Machar chutz mi'echad mi'meir shebai, oisha hoiseloi by shutafos, or the ganif was a shutif, and then he sold it. Hashoichef v'nisnavla biyadoi. He had a shkita, but it became the vela. Hanoicher, he didn't slit the throat horizontally. He went from the nose and went down lengthwise. Ba'ma'aker, or he went ahead and he pulled out the simanim, the kana and the veshet. In all these cases, he's going to pay kefil. He won't pay what? He won't pay that. He won't pay. And even according to Rabbanon, why? It's not a shchita. Forget about the shchita shenaruya. This is not a shchita at all. It's not pshat yishechted a treifa. It's not pshat yishechted a kachem bachutz, where the physical act of cutting the kanim vesha was done correctly la halacha, and it's an external thing that makes it. Over here, this is nishkan shchita. Everyone will be moed over here. This is nishkan shchita. Okay, the Gemara will focus on the first din, guys. The Gemara is going to focus on the din of mechira, and it's going to go through a few different opinions of what you sell, what you could sell. Okay. Okay, we're going to have 4 opinions. The first one is Rav. You sell it, what's mi davar haniter imay b'shchita, right? The only thing that's considered, or that you didn't sell the whole thing, is something that you need shchita to matter. In other words, the meat. According to Rav, when the Mishnah says you're selling it for 1/100th, you're leaving over. It has to be you're leaving over the meat, because meat is the only thing that becomes muta al yedei shchita. According to Levi, who argues on Rav, even if you would go ahead and sell the sheep or the shar, ichutz from its gizaysecha, meaning its shearings, even if you would say, I'm selling you the whole animal except I want the wool, then also it's not considered a mechira. Good? So that's Rav and Levi. Rav meat. Rav would hold if you do sell the gaze, it would be a good mechira, and you'd be chayiv daled behei. And Levi is said even a bigger makel, even if you go ahead and leave over the gaze, it would not be a good mechira. Okay, Rabbi says it has to be something that's ma'akiv the shchita. Rabbi guys was told the following: if I would sell the animal, except for its foot, its foreleg, or its hind leg below the knee. Now we know from Hilchas Chulin that that's not a treifa. If the animal loses its front leg below the knee or back leg below the knee, it's not a treifa. Like Rebbe, if you would go ahead and sell the animal, chutz from those 2 parts, it would be a good mechira. It would be a good mechira. According to Rav, not. Because Rav says what? That part, you need the shchita to matter it. Rebbe is being a bigger makel. Rebbe is saying even if you sell it, the whole animal, with the exception of its front foot or its back foot, below the knee, it's a good mechira. And then we have a Tanakam who says even the horn, if you go ahead and chutz mikarna, it'll be what? It won't be a good mechira if you leave out the horn. Okay? As we'll see. Okay, let's see it inside. I'm going to leave the chart open. We're referring to the chart. Now it says, my chutz mi'echad mimeya sheboy. When it says chutz mi'echad shemeya, what does it mean? Amarav, chutz mi davar anita imay b'shchita. That's the basar. Levi Amar, chutz migisa seha. Even afilu chutz migisa seha would be leaving over. The chintanim mesnisan chutz migisa seha, you would not be wad chayiv dalad v'hei. Mesive, we're going to ask a kasha. We're going to ask a kasha on Rav. Machra chutz miyada chutz miragla. If you sell it chutz from its front foot or back foot, chutz mikarna, you sell except its horn. Chutz migisa seha, except its gaze. Eina mishalim tashlumei arba chamisha. Eina mishalim. So again, this is, guys, this is not like Rav. Tell me why it's not like Rav. Because it says over here, chutz migisa seha. Rav would say the gaze is a good mechira, correct? So this is the first opinion. This is going to be the problem. Rav does not come out according to this. But why? Because Rav says the animal, if you leave over you keep the wool for yourself, it would be a good mechira. This one says it's not a good mechira. The first part comes out well according to Rav. Okay? Rabbi says, something that what? That an aver that would be nevela, if that an aver that would be nevela, if you would take it away, it would be nevela. So that's the yad v'regel. Even if you leave over the horn, now Bishleim Levi Kitanakama. Levi goes like the Tanakama. Guys, what did the Tanakama say? Tanakama said meat and gaze. That if you leave over any of those, it's not a good mechira. So Levi held what? So Rabbi holds like the Tanakama. Excuse me, Levi holds like the Tanakama. So therefore, it comes out good according to Rabbi Bishleim Levi Kitanakama. El Rav Keman. Guys, who does Rav hold according to? Again, Rav said the following. Rav said meat, right? So he can't hold like this Tanakama of the Brisa who says gaze. He can't hold like Rebbe who holds yad. Even if you sell the yad and if you leave over the yad in the back foot, it's a good mechira because you need a shchita to matter that, right? Correct? He doesn't hold like Reb Shimon in this. Well, he could hold like Reb Shimon. We're going to see in a second. Okay, so Amar Ami Rav Dama Ki Hai Tana. Rav holds like this Tana. The Tanya, Reb Shimon Eloiz Oimer, Machra Chutz Miyada, Chutz Miragla, Eina Mishalim Tashlumi Arba V'Chamisha. That's it, guys. Good, that's the Tana. Chutz Mikarna, Chutz Migazel, Mishalim Tashlumi Arba V'Chamisha. That's the Tanakama, right? In other words, look at it. What does Rav say? Rav says meat. Rav says meat. Look at this Tana. Look at the words of this Tana. Says this Tana, right? Reb Shimon Elazar Oimer, Machra chutz miyada v'chutz miragla, eina mishalem. You know why? Because you left over meat. Chutz mikarna chutz migazel mishalem, because it's not meat. So this Tana, you want to know who Rav? Look, Rav, and we added the words. Well, the Tana idach Reb Shimon Elazar, and the second brisa of Reb Shimon Elazar. Okay, now here's your problem. You have a steer in Reb Shimon Elazar. In this, Reb Shimon Elazar says chutz mikar. It has to be meat, right? So if you keren would not be a problem, right? If you'd sell it chutz mikeren, it would be a good mechira. Over here, Reb Shimon Elazar says chutz mikarn, it's not a good mechira. You have a stira in this Reb Shimon Elazar to this Reb Shimon Elazar. This Reb Shimon Elazar says it's got to be meat, but chutz mikeren ugisaseha, it would be a good mechira. Over here, he says chutz mikarna, right? Right. His keren is, but mashma gaze would be a good mechira, keren not. But here's the stira, here's meat, and here's keren. Says the Gemara. My kamifli, what's the svaras machlokes? Tanakam is sava utvacha kula beinin umachro kula beinin. Right over here, you need. This is the Tanakama of Levi. Afilu chutz seha machroi chutz. In other words, just like tficha is whole, so the mechira is whole. So if you hold back the gaze, it's not a good mechira, right? Afilu chutz migaseha. What's the reason? It says machroi kula beinin. You need to sell the whole thing. If you leave over anything, even the gaze, which is not part of the animal, it's what? It's not a good mechira. Rebbe Sava utfachai midi dahavi betficha. Something that what? That's in the tficha. Lafuke midi deloy havi betficha. That's fuke what? Shaykh betficha ma'akav mechira. What shaykh to tficha is the meat, with the exception of the back foot and the and the front foot, because it's mashma that what that would not make it what a devela, not make it a treifa. So Rebbe is of the opinion that would not be a problem. That would not be a problem. So again, according to Rebbe, we're going through this. But Tanakama says what? Tanakama says you have to sell the whole thing, right? Right? It says mchoroi, and that's afilu what? Afilu the gaze would be a problem. And Rebbe, who says dafka, the mechira as an ava, that if you take it away, it would still live. Savar utfachoi midi dehave, that stopped them the tvicha. In other words, a yad and a back foot below the knee is not going to stop them. You can shech that animal, so the tficha is not ma'aket. Memela, that's what he holds. Continues the Gemara. V'idach tanad Rabbi Yishmael sava yad v'raglav v'tzricha tficha avishir v'loy mishlam t'shlum yabar v'chamisha karna v'gizah said loy tzricha tficha le'avishir. So this opinion is not a share. Okay, he says it's not a share. Okay, so now Hashid Reb Shimon bar Elazar Shimon ben Elazar. Over here, he says if you sell it except the keren, it's not a good mechira, right? Over here, he says that keren would not be a problem. It would be a good mechira. So you have a steer of this one and this one. It says, I'm going to trade tonight with Reb Shimon ben Elazar. It's two tanoim according to Reb Shimon ben Elazar. It's two tanoim according to Reb Shimon ben Elazar. No, I skipped, guys. I skipped. I'm sorry. Let's go back. I skipped. Reb Shimon ben Elazar Sava kind of over here. He says chutz mi keren, but gaze would be a good mechira, right? What's the difference between keren and gaze? So, guys, I'm selling an animal except the horn, not a good mechira. I'm selling an animal except the wool, good mechira. What's the difference?
Gaze comes off. Yeah,
that's the answer. Says the Gemara. Karna that's not supposed to come off havishir. Bein mishan tishlam chamisha. Gizusa the lemeges kaima loy havishir. Umishalim tavishlam chamisha. V'idach tana Rabbi Yishmael havishir. Umisham tashlam abar chamisha. Right, it would be a share, and you pay abar chamisha. V'idach tana Rabbi Yishmael sava yada v'raglav the tzricha tvicha havishir. V'loy mishalim tishlam abar chamisha. Karna v'gisa said loy tzricha tvicha loy havishir. Kasha of Shimon Elazar. Here he says Karen is a good mechira. Here he says Karen's not. He says well, trade tonight I'll leave it Shimon Elazar. Okay, okay, now.
A Karen is not considered like Giza. I mean, on the ram, we take the Karen off to make a chauffeur.
Yeah, but most people don't. Most again. A shar, again, it's not there for the purpose of, when we need a shofar, we take it off, right? But it's not there for the purpose of taking off. The wool is always taken off. It's a distinction. A shar, certainly you never take off, I mean, a person might take it off and put it on his take it to a taxidermist. If he killed some shar and wants to stick it on his wall, you could do it. But again, stamazai, it's not there for the purpose of gaze. Mashen came what? Kol oimid ligzais is kagaz's dummy. There's such an opinion. We don't say that by a horn. We don't say that by a horn. Okay, then let's conclude the Gemara now. Says the Gemara, Tanrabana. Hagoinev hakitas, an animal that's missing a limb, Vesachi geres, or an animal that's a cripple. So one of its limbs is not working well. Vesasuma, one of its eyes is not working well, with both eyes. Okay, so the first case is that you're selling a whole object, even though it's missing a part, but you didn't take off the part. It wasn't like you sold it chutzim this part, the part wasn't there. So whatever there was to sell, you sold, it's a complete mechira, right? So now, this we need the second part. Agoyin behemas hachutafim. You steal an animal from two shutfin, chayiv. Of course, again, you're stealing a whole animal, you're selling a whole animal. So good, it was owned by two people, but it's a complete geneva and a complete mechira. However, shutafim sheganvu, shutafim, one steals from the other, peturim, because then you're not stealing a whole animal. Fred the Gemara Batanya, shutafim sheganvu chayavim. So we have a stira. One steals from the other, you're chayiv. Amar Rav Nachman like kasha kan b'shutiv shegonav mechaveroi. If one shutiv is stealing from the other yipater, kan b'shutiv shegonav me'alma. So if a shutiv goes ahead and steals me'alma, he's chayiv. Both are chayiv. Read the Gemara. Esvei Rav Nachman. Yochal, I might think shutiv shegonav mechaveroi. B'shutafim shegonvu yechayavim tamalayma utfachel kula beinin v'leka. You have to go ahead. What? You don't have the whole thing. You're only part of the thing. Elam Rav Nachman like kasha. Kam b'shutiv shetavach l'das chaveroi. So we have to go ahead and explain the two. Why one case shutiv is chayiv, one case is shutiv is pata. So a shutiv, you're stealing, and not only you have a mind for yourself, you have a mind for your shutiv. And we know that we say by the alaveh yesh shliach l'dvar avera. So that would be chayiv. But if you're stealing shaloi l'das chaveroi, then not. Kam b'shutiv shetavach shaloi l'das chaveroi. Boy, so what? Shutiv shetavach l'das chaveroi would be chayiv. A shutiv that's tavish shaloi l'das chaveroi is pata. Boy, Rav Yemia, machar chutz mishloishim yoin. How about if you sell it chutz from 30 days? Chutz mi malachta, you can have it but you can't work it. Chutz mi ubra, you can have it but you can't have its uber. Mahu. Now I'll leave it to Manda Amar. Like the Manda Amar was of the opinion that uber yerech imoy, that the uber is considered part and parcel of the animal. That the uber is considered part and parcel of the animal. Like tiboy, it's not a shaila, right? That you'd be chayiv dala v'hei if you sell it chutz mi iburoi. The shayabal atzmai, in other words, you would not be chayiv dala v'hei, right? Like to mind the uber yerech imayhu. So guys, I have one animal. Guys, look, I have one animal. I have the animal in the uber. I'm selling you the animal chutz mi uber. So it's the same thing as selling the animal chutz mi echmei sheba. Since the uber is part of the animal, I left over part for myself. I'm not going to pay dala v'hei. It's not a good mechira. Again, one more time. I'm selling you the animal chutz from the baby. So lo timan yama that the baby is considered part of the mother. So it's no different than leaving over the meat, according to Rav and the Giza, according to Levi. Since it's part of the animal, of course it's considered a shear. Of course it's considered a leave over. Of course it's not a mechira. Kiti boilach. Where's the shaila? Alman yama the ubid lav yerachimai. That it says the ubid is not considered yerachimai. My, how do you view it? Meima aminon kivin the mechubaba. Since we say it's connected to it physically, it's a shear. Idilma halachically kivin the lemifish minei koi. Since it's going to be separate from it, lo yavi shear. So that's the shaila. How do you view it? Do you view it as a physical mitzias, that it's in the animal now and it's a shear? Or do you view what will be and it's going to be two separate entities and it's not a shear? Ikad the army, others say, here's the shaila. Even the lav yerech imayhu, since it's not yerech imay, lo yavi shear, and therefore you chayiv dalad behei. Idilma, even the tzarich l'shterui b'hadei b'shchita, since the uber has to be in the matter of b'shchita with the din of ben pekua, where you shecht a pregnant cow and there's a child in it, it's considered mutar al yidei shchita. Halei shira, it's not considered what? A shear. And the Gemara answers that. The Gemara stays with that, the shaila of teku. Okay, we'll conclude over here. Everyone should have a great Shabbos. Let's say a kapitel Tehillim.